welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's a good week for the Philadelphia Union. A lot going on right now. We'll talk about that today.
And you just had another trip around the sun.
Yes, I did. And 46th birthday was yesterday.
Good for
So
you for saying your actual age on there,
yeah.
because I won't.
All right. Well, I am. Uh,
Just yeah, everybody know I am younger than Kyle. I'm not. I'm
I mean,
several years younger than Kyle.
I could tell you were actually.
No.
No, I'm not. But in all honesty, yeah, it was a good birthday. Got a couple days here to kind of recharge, and yeah, we got some things going on around the soccer world right now. Gold
Hmm.
Cup, Club World Cup's going on. But yeah, we're gonna sit down today and talk about some Philadelphia Union keeping well, really a first time 10 game win unbeaten streak.
Vibes are good with the union
Yeah,
organization as a whole right now. I mean, top to bottom.
they really are. And gonna talk about Union 2's victory on Sunday and just a couple little news and notes on today. But yeah, we thank everybody for tuning in. And before we get started, what are we wearing today?
Well, since he had that Golazo, I'm wearing my Jesus Bueno um, bootleg MLS shirt.
And since it is the Club World Cup, I'm wearing the Club World Cup shirt that we picked up. And just a reminder to stay tuned. We'll be going down and covering a few of the games this week and next. And I haven't decided if I'll do, some of the knockout rounds yet, but I probably will.
Yeah.
But stay tuned for that. And yeah, so where can people find us at?
Find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on socials. We are at TOTWAG on Instagram, on Twitter and Blue Sky. We're on Instagram and Facebook at the One Team We Agree On. We have our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com. We also have our YouTube channel, The One Team We Agree On. Find us individually on our socials. I am at silly double underscore Jilly on Twitter and Instagram, and Kyle, and I'm on Blue Sky at Jillian Almany. And Kyle is at Coach Omni on all of the above.
Yes, and just again, big shout out to everybody that's supporting us.
Yeah, shout out to the people that said hi to us at the match, especially some people said hi to me as well. So, um, you know, I shout out to Shaggy, shout out to, I believe it was Joe and Donna, if I'm remembering the names correctly. People I talked to in the team store as well, and people at the tailgate and everything. So, it's always great hearing from people. So, thanks for listening and thanks for saying hi.
Yeah, and before we get into the kind of the match recaps, to talk a little bit about Union 1 and 2. Um, let's just a couple notes, news and notes I want to discuss first. Some news dropped today, actually two things.
Hmm.
Union now is like one of 9 teams with partnering with SeatGeek, which okay, they're like, yeah, we'll give you. Did you read the presser?
Yes, I did.
It sounds like they're just going to be more interactive, like directions, things to do. I mean, SeatGeek, you can get some cheap tickets there from time to time, depending on where they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sounds like they're kind of going more in with like an official partnership now rather than an MLS, because I believe MLS was like the official partner of SeatGeek or something. Or
Yeah, so I mean, I guess, and not that I did this too much, but I guess if we needed to sell our tickets, it was through SeatGeek,
yeah,
right? But
but I mean, not that it's really going to change anything.
mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a neat option. And then this was kind of interesting because we've seen a couple other clubs announce this. Union partnered with NBC Sports Philadelphia, and they're going to re-air the matches.
Yeah, so as of us recording this, tonight I know they're showing the Charlotte match. So that would be Tuesday night. But yeah, so yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna do it like, a couple of days after the matches. So that's cool. That'll hopefully get the union some more exposure to the people that don't pay for, season pass.
yeah, and it's on NBC Sports Plus, I believe, or NBC Philadelphia Plus or something.
Like kind of the secondary channel that they have, I
Yeah.
think. So like for us in Lancaster on Comcast, it's like channel 8 or whatever. But
But hey, I mean,
yeah.
it will get some people that don't have MLS season pass. It kind of, it sounds like it'll be an entry point to like get some people more involved with the team, people that maybe are like just flipping around at night. And there's a
Yeah.
union match. They can watch some of that, see the team.
Yeah. And I
If
know
not, I
it's
mean,
something, it's a good start because I know a lot of people complained about how, I know on PHL 17, which we don't get. We used to have it in Lancaster, but we don't anymore. And we used to have NBC 3 as well, but they restructured our um, coverage and we don't get that anymore either. But, um, well, I think we do like, you have to look for it though. But anyway, people would watch Union games there and it gave more exposure. So it's good to see that, okay, you're going to have another option, get the word out there more, and especially ahead of the World Cup, there's going to be more interest in soccer.
and with the Club World Cup going on, I mean, you hope that, I think if anything, it'll get that casual soccer fan
Hmm.
that, you know, was with the union, kind of fell off. Now it's just kind of seeing clips, highlights, that kind of stuff, listening to podcasts,
Right,
reading stuff. Now they'll actually be able to go back and watch some of these matches. And if nothing else, maybe it'll get them to come to a game.
right.
So it's a good deal. I mean, at the end of the day, does it really solve the bigger problem of Apple? Not really, but
I mean, selfishly for us,
yeah,
because we were out of range of like the local broadcast,
it's great.
and we either were getting occasionally it on like Fox or whatever, or we were getting it through YouTube and like the union's website,
Mhm.
which was always really like bad quality. So for us, getting the Apple TV thing was good because the picture quality is great. But I know that also is not great for, putting it behind a paywall and everything too. Especially at a time when interest in the union was an all-time high with them doing so well in 2022.
Hmm.
So, after that season, them going behind a paywall was like kind of unfortunate timing. But anyway, I think this is a good step anyway.
It is. And next and last little note, Ty Baribo. Rather than just wait until the end of match recap, just kind
Yeah.
of where Ty's at.
Yeah,
I
he's still
know
in Israel.
I know it's been announced. I know Todd talked about it. He's still in Israel.
Yeah.
Bradley did say that the club has been in communications with him, pretty much daily.
Hmm.
Jose had shared some of kind of some things from his wife, and they were in a bunker. Um,
Some scary stuff. Honestly, like I know it's on a lot of people's minds, I'm not getting political,
yeah,
the whole Middle East situation. It's just, yeah, it's just you hope that, he and, his loved ones and everyone are doing okay and that hopefully he gets back here soon.
yeah. Hopefully they get back. They can
Hmm.
get him out of there,
Yeah.
get him back safe and sound. Joe Tanzi did report that basically he was over there to get his green card,
Yeah.
which okay, yeah. I mean, it's international break. It's like Bradley said, it was a start and stop month.
Hmm.
So now with that whole everything going on over there, what does that mean for that status and application? We'll wait and find out. But it does sound like, he's still got some time to recover, from what we've heard. And yeah, I mean, from business side, it's great, but yeah, sure, it gives the Philadelphia an open international spot, but more importantly, as a human being, you want to get him out of there
Yeah.
safe and sound. And yeah, so hopefully, some more information will come out in the coming days, week. I'm sure we'll talk about next week with Bradley, see any updates are there. But yeah, hope all is well over there with Ty and his family. And, again, just hoping that everything he can get back here safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, hopefully very soon on that.
Yeah. But anyway, let's start off with some Union 2.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to start off because it was a very special moment. And we were kind of talking about that when they announced the lineup.
Yeah, so we were heading to the game and happened to see on they put out the pictures of the jerseys hanging up before the
Hmm.
match. And I noticed, oh, there is a captain's armband. There's the thing at Gavin Wetzel. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. Is just Nick Pariano not starting? Or, is he getting not? And I said, I said to you, Kyle, I'm like, well, also though, he's heading off to college soon. He signed with Pitt. So I'm wondering if his time is up too. Maybe that's why. And
Yeah.
that was why.
Yeah, so if you're listening, we're showing the starting 11 right now. Yeah, Nick did start. The lineup was Pierce Holbrook got his Union debut in net.
Yep.
And then you had Isaiah LaFleur, Rafael Uzcategui, Neil Pierre, Gavin Wetzel, CJ Olney, David Vasquez, Nick Periano, Leandro Soria, Sal Levis, and Eddie Davis. And
Very thin bench.
a very thin bench.
Only three field players basically, and
Mike Sheridan.
Mike Sheridan in goal. So yeah, not yeah, it's pretty thin there. So
It was, but we did talk to Ryan afterwards. We asked that because that was something we were in press box. We're like, we gotta see what's going on. Is there a move maybe with Nick coming up and Gavin's doing that? And basically he said point blank, no, kind of what you were thinking, that this is his last game with Union 2,
yeah,
that he is indeed going off to Pitt,
yep,
and that it was actually Pariano's idea.
right.
So shout out to Nick for being a leader and kind of giving, one of his
Hmm.
teammates the opportunity for thanking him, basically saying, "No, you're going to be the captain today, man."
Yeah, I love that. And Gavin's done such a nice job.
Oh, yeah.
He's come up through the academy. Ryan Richter mentioned that he coached Gavin when he was younger in the
Mhm.
academy, and so it was big. I know I could see it on Ryan's face. He was really proud of Gavin, and you know uh it's gonna be a big loss for Union 2, of course, losing him. He's been very dependable in that back line, whether he's playing center back or he's playing, an outside back or whatever. And he's done a phenomenal job. He always is very poised. He's shows a lot of maturity there. I know you had the opportunity to talk to him last season, and I think it was after he'd had a goal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
So yeah, I mean, so he's going off to Pitt. He's committed to play there, and best of luck to
Yeah,
Gavin. So I hope he does really, really well. And I don't think he's going to pull a Frankie and pull out of going to college right
no,
before. But you know, but
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah, wishing him all the best. And of course, there's guys will step in there. Jordan Griffin will probably be filling in there and everything. But again, best of luck to Gavin. And I love the fact that he got to wear the captain's armband for that match then.
No, he was somebody in one of my preseason prediction articles. I said maybe he would get a Union 2 contract.
Hmm.
But maybe the opportunity, again, I'm just speculating here, was too great.
Hmm.
Don't know the family situation. Everybody's different. I think it's an
And that
excellent op.
college education too
You
is,
can't beat that. You can't beat that. And he's a guy. And here's the other thing: he's going to the ACC,
mhm,
which is one, if not the best conference in soccer. You see so many guys year after year in the Super Draft,
mhm.
and going either USL, and just all multiple opportunities, not just in the United States. They go,
Yeah.
overseas sometimes. But anyway, opportunity to play against some of the best competition. Raise your stock value. Maybe
Mhm.
a year or two, he does excellent. Maybe he gets an opportunity. Who knows?
Right.
But
I mean, the college path, yeah, there's some of these guys that go directly and just being pro, but you know, for some of these guys, well, yeah, getting that college education is really important. Getting it out depends on, if he's, seeing himself more as wanting to be a student athlete, which is great. And hey, look, Stas, he went to
yeah,
college and then he's back, he's playing now, and we talked to Stas, and we'll get into that. But so everyone's path is different.
absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of talent, and I think we talk about all the homegrowns MLS does, but there's a lot of good college talent out there. Some people we've talked to, Jose Todd and Mark Keckelberg. They talk to him all the time. Um, does a great job. If you don't follow Mark, please do because he does a great job breaking down the college players in the college and USL and USL
Yeah.
too. So yeah,
Yeah. Now I know Gavin's a Philly sports fan, so Gavin, just you know, hold your own out there with amongst all the Yinzers, but sorry, Valerie, I know you're
uh,
uh-huh.
oh, you had to go there.
Sorry, I went there. But no, anyway. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
best of luck to Gavin,
yeah,
obviously.
we'll see what corresponding moves. Obviously, like you said, you have Jordan, you have Nick. Nick can play there in the slot, although that's not his best position.
Hmm.
Well, we'll see. But anyway, just a couple thoughts from the match. First off, I think the biggest thing for me was especially that first half, and Ryan kind of talked about it. And again, if you want to hear the clips and all the interviews, go on and check out Jillian's article. It's up now on the website.
Yep.
The full interviews are on there, so you can check those out. But I didn't have any time to get those uploaded. But we did. I tweeted this out that the balls were not bouncing the Union's way. They just weren't having luck.
No.
Um, the first half, I mean, even into the second half, and it was Charlotte similar, and we'll talk about it later to the Union were playing defensively pretty well, but the Union were having their opportunities, they just weren't getting them back in net. Eddie
Right.
Davis,
Going wide or going hitting the cross, hitting the post, whatever.
they hit the post twice,
Hmm.
and it was just one of those things where the first half, and then Ryan even talked about that they could have had more goals.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And even Stas talked about that too.
He did. And, right before the end of the first half, Rafael Uzcategui, he hit the ball, hit the post, I believe.
Yeah.
And then second half starts, and of course, Leandro Soria, hit the post there too. So, I mean, they're coming. By the way, I think Rafael's going to get a goal one of these days. He's
Yeah,
so
I
good.
mean, so in that regard, the first half
Hmm.
they didn't look as connected at times.
Right.
However, like Brian said, that second half, just the adjustments that they made, they were able to force the pressure a lot more and get turnovers. The goals still weren't coming. I forget who it was had a goal in that second half. It was called
Mm.
offsides. But in that, it was just like, okay. So they made some substitutions. Stas
Yeah.
came on, and I thought the big
Yeah, Stas and Gio came on, and then a little bit later, Oscar came
he
on.
came on with
And those
like
were the three subs.
they came on with like 10 minutes to go and held it down. But the thing was, I thought the substitution for Stas for Sal, I felt like Sal had some opportunities, and again, it was just one of those things. If he gets a goal and starts playing confidently,
Hmm.
he's good.
Right.
But the problem is when he's missing those opportunities or not getting that goal when he's having those chances, you can see the confidence drop
Yeah.
and the frustration. And I think the great move was to bring Stas in because as soon as they
Hmm.
brought Stas in,
New energy.
new energy, Union get
And
lucky
Gio as
finally.
well. Yeah.
The own goal, and we asked Stas this, and it was kind of a fun question. I knew the answer, but
Yeah.
it was one of those things in soccer, in sports in general. You get that bounce, fumble return for a touchdown, a fluke play changes the momentum. And that own goal just goes in. We're like, oh, they finally get a
Yeah.
goal.
And if you weren't at that and saw the own goal, basically what happened was that, Vasquez, he takes a free kick from outside the box. Gio had been fouled. So Vasquez takes the free kick, sends it in, and it looks like the keeper is going to catch it.
Mhm.
But his own defender basically heads the ball into the goal. Like
It,
it's right out of his hands,
it
basically.
looked like the keeper was a little aggressive on the play, and the
Hmm.
defender was just trying to head the ball out.
Yeah,
And it just
it was
was
kind of comical. We all look at each other in the press box like,
okay.
whoa, oh, okay, okay, well.
And then they credit Eddie with the goal, and we're like, no, that's
No, we're all
not.
like,
No, that's an own goal.
that's an own
And
goal.
then we all checked MLS Next Pro, and they're like, yep, that's
And
an
I
own.
actually happened to take video of it, and it was clear as day. It's an own goal when you
Yeah.
watch it. So I was like, yeah,
But that really opened up the floodgates because
right.
then,
Like I said, they smell blood in the
I
water.
keep saying Charlotte, but it's Crown Legacy. They kept pushing for that equalizing goal, and as a result, you had Stas break free,
Yeah,
and actually for this time was clinical and did a very nice job. Beats the keeper,
yep.
makes it 2-0.
Eddie set that up pretty nicely.
Eddie set that up really nicely, and then Eddie sets up another goal
He
for
got two assists on the
David,
night.
which David makes a really nice cut,
Oh
totally
yeah,
jukes out the goalkeeper and knocks it through. So you see the
yeah,
quality
class.
from David there. It's like, okay, this is why Davi Vasquez is still getting called up to like the U19s because kid's got class.
Yeah, I mean, he had a goal with the youth national team too recently.
So
So, yeah.
there's talent there, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But getting back to Stas, my question to Stas, basically, I said to him like, "Hey, that was a game where it just wasn't kind of clicking, and you get that own goal,
Hmm.
and it's." Do you think it just was one of those games where you get a little luck on your side and then the floodgates open? And he kind of knew exactly what I was going for, and I was really impressed with our interview with Stas.
Yeah, make sure you guys go listen to the whole thing. Like I said, the whole thing is at the bottom of my article. You can hear the full audio.
And Stas says a lot of really great things in that. Like he's still adjusting to the style of play. He's still kind of learning and all this.
Yeah.
You could tell he's a Penn kid, very smart, very
Hmm.
well. Like it's a really good article, and he kind of chuckles at my question. And again, I knew where he was going to go, but he kind of says, "Yeah, no, that's soccer." But at the same time, I liked how he was like, "As you and we all know." There's a lot more that goes into tactical formations and all that, but he goes, no, I agree. I think it really is, and so I appreciate Stas's candid response there. But yeah, so there was that. Apologies, Jillian's having a little cough. Yeah, choking on a little bit of water. But so anyway, we talked to Stas about that, and at the end of the day, Union 2 win 3-0. They move up to fourth place in the MLS Next Pro Eastern Conference with some games in hand.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, this is a team that, yeah, they didn't have Andrew Rick. Pierce Holbrook was in net.
Hmm.
They've gone through now four goalkeepers. And this
Yeah.
comes a month where they kind of are going to be losing some kids to college. I mean, Master Demos,
Bernstein.
Bernstein, JoJo is gone, although he
You
didn't
know,
feature.
yeah.
He didn't feature, but we've seen him around. There's going to be a lot of kids from the academy too going to college.
Mm.
So we've seen some trial lists. Now,
Yeah.
whether or not they've been training
Can't
or
comment.
not, I can't comment. But whether they're just training or they're actually maybe going to start getting some minutes, we'll wait and see.
Hmm.
What is that opportunities for William,
I think,
for
yeah.
Jordan, for Kellen, more
Yeah.
opportunity for Jameer, who's had an excellent window and is having an excellent MLS next
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
Malik.
Sidebar, the MLS Next Cup, they're down in Nashville right now. Um, just if you haven't followed them at all on the academies, socials and everything, go check it out because they're doing really, really well.
Yeah.
U15s are moving on to quarterfinals, and the U18s are moving on. The U16s got knocked out, unfortunately, but the U18s feature a lot of guys that are up and coming with the academy and several that play with Union too. Kellen, Jameer, Jordan, Malik, Henry, Zach, like a whole bunch of those guys. Um,
So what?
and not to get too off topic, but just want to note that real quick because like Kellen's had goals, Jameer's had goals. Um, and so those guys are doing really, really well. And shout out to York, PA native Liam Holtzman in the U15s because yeah, representing.
Brace.
Yes, he had a brace in their most recent one. So anyway, but yeah, there's guys waiting in the wings to come up, and it'll be interesting to see who gets opportunities this summer, as that usually goes.
I'm really excited. I think this team, if people just look at the standings, they're going to say, "Oh, wait a minute. This club, then maybe they're not as good as they were last year." And look, there's still time to be said. And,
Mhm.
certainly that slow start hurt them. That loss against Inter Miami too, that wasn't
Mhm.
great. They've had some ups and down moments, and it's like MLS Next Pro.
Yeah.
It depends who's available. It depends on the rotation squad, all that stuff.
Yeah, but
So,
they're in fourth right now with several games in hand. They have at least two games in hand over the teams above them.
but they are fun to watch. So
They're great.
definitely go check them out.
They're gonna have a
Because
whole bunch of games coming up, by the way.
yeah. Thoughts on Pierce Holbrook?
I mean, he wasn't really tested, and
No.
and Ryan talked about this too, and he's adjusting and everything, but he did fine. And again, we didn't really get to see much from him. Charlotte or Crown Legacy had zero shots on target. more than
He did make a couple little saves, but there was also times where
there were 5 shots. Or no, it was more than that, but it was like, I mean, I'm thinking of Union 2 having 5 shots. Anyway, they really didn't test him. He didn't have to make anything like crazy.
no, and there was a couple plays where he was kind of like a little hesitant, and you could tell like
Also, the
he,
defense cleaned up a lot of things too. Like they
there was a
blocked a lot
couple
of
things,
chances,
yeah, there was a couple things where I don't know, if that shot's on target, if is that goal. I mean, the, I I think he and his distribution is definitely not on the Rick's level, but again, who is? But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I think he did make one or two really nice plays, so it was up and down with him. So
Yeah.
I think the potential's there. We'll see how he does.
Hmm.
And then something interesting here at the end, and I'm not gonna start because I don't think it was meant that
Hmm.
Alex had asked
Hmm.
Richter what he thought about Neil. Now we saw Neil now twice coming back, and Neil looked okay on the night. I mean,
Yeah, like
he
he did
looks like
okay.
he's still coming back.
Yeah, just like he looked okay against Atlas.
But Richter said, the biggest thing for him is his focus, the 90 minutes,
Hmm.
and he challenges them every day to stay focused all the time. And when you hear that, you're like, oh no. But I kind of listen to that and I feel that's a young kid, still
Hmm.
learning his way,
Yep.
still trying to do that and getting proper coaching um, early on in his career is going to help that. So we'll see. But I found that comment interesting. But I thought Neil was fine on the
Neil
night.
was fine. And I
Made a
thought
couple nice plays on.
he did. And I thought the defense, in whole did a really nice job.
That's the thing that really impresses me with this team is their defensive
Well,
chops.
and when you have Neil back in there, now Nick Pariano can go back to his more natural position in the midfield. You have Gavin Wetzel, um, playing right back. So that kind of lent itself to a little bit, stronger formation, I think, there. And
Sure.
Isaiah LaFleur has been doing a good job back there as well. He's still, I think he's getting the rust off a little bit every game. So, but Rafael Uzcategui, I think, has been really, really solid. So,
Yeah, I thought he had another solid night. He had a couple moments where he was tested, but he recovered well, or the defense picked him up. I have been just impressed with him, and I am very curious what their plan is with him
yeah.
because is the plan now he's the same size Makanya.
Hmm.
Obviously, where does he fit in, especially with Neil,
Hmm.
especially if they go out and add another defensive center back or something like that. Where does he stand? I mean, he is not ready for MLS,
No,
but
but
he in MLS Next Pro, he's been very
and he has national team experience with his home country too.
yeah.
So it's like, you know, um, the talent's definitely there.
So we'll see.
Hmm.
Something to keep an eye on. All right, let's just switch gears, talk about the first team. Philadelphia hosted Charlotte FC. It was Unity night,
It
and
was.
just a couple notes there. We went down just to check out the festivities because they had a couple things going on for the Unity night, but also Sons of Ben were shaving their heads for St. Baldrick's for childhood cancer, which, if you remember last year, I shaved my head for that. I didn't know what the plan was going to be because it was my birthday weekend, if I was going to be there, be in the press box, what was going on. So I didn't do it this year if anybody was wondering. We'll see what next year
You
holds.
need money though.
We donated some money. We did some raffles. You won, and you actually won something.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I actually have luck, but so yes, got this jersey from, I don't know what year this was from,
I think it
but
was from 2020.
from 2020, yeah. And it's got Sons of Ben on there, and so shout out to Borton because
Yeah,
that was his
yeah.
donated. So um anyway, so got that. And also there was a giveaway when you're going in the stadium for Unity Night. I thought this was really nice. It's a cooling like neck
Yeah,
band thing. So
it just has
it's
a
Unity Night 2025 on it, and it's got this little floral thing. So thought that was really nice. And so you're supposed to like wet it, I guess, and then put it around your neck. So they
nice little gift for like,
nice.
especially with the summer months,
Yeah. And then they had an artist. He did um
the
the design.
t-shirts.
Yeah. So and I I'm sorry, but I don't remember his name.
I don't either.
But he did the shirts and everything too that were for sale in the store. But if you went over to Union Yards, he had a tent there, and he was they had these prints of the design with the heart
Hmm.
thing there, and he would like custom, spray paint them, make them look pretty
Which
cool.
I thought was cool because every piece
Each one was different.
each
Yeah.
piece is different. So that's really, I thought that was a really smart idea. I'd love to see
Yeah.
them do more stuff like that with local artists.
Yeah. And
I think that's really cool because you can frame that, it's signed. It's just a nice little piece. We're definitely gonna get it framed and put somewhere in the house.
yeah.
Um,
And then, the shirts were for sale in the team store. I did not purchase them because if anyone's interested, they were $75 before any discount from if you're like a season ticket holder. So, um but they're really nice design. They had a few of them. I liked they had one that was like shorter sleeves, cream colored. It was a girl's one that was I wouldn't say it was a complete like crop top, but it was a little bit kind of cropped, I guess. So, um, so yeah, that was pretty cool. Of course, the plaza had the usual stuff on it. Sons of Ben tailgate, um, was good, but um, yeah, I'm actually seeing if I can look up what the
but
anyway,
anyway,
keep talking.
just a couple other little notes. Union Yards had some things going. They had Rita's Water Ice, which was the first time I saw that.
Yeah.
And they had the Dogfish Head Camper with some dogfish, I guess, because the dogfish.
Jay Martin, by the way.
Jay
Jay
Martin
Martin.
is the name
That's
of
the
the
artist.
artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go support his work as well.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented. I actually was looking at some of his artwork, I think last Friday before the match. And it's really good art. But I thought that it was a nice little thing for Unity Night they did. Would have liked to see him do maybe a little bit more, but I thought it was
Hmm.
better than Irish Heritage Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad, but anyway, switching to the match. Hey, look, we could say, Union win 2-1. We'll talk about Marcus. I got some clips coming up here from
Hmm.
Carnell,
Yeah.
but I mean, we keep talking about, 10 unbeaten for the first time in club history. They are top of the table.
Hmm.
Um, two
Top of
point
the shield.
top of the, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the league,
In the league, yes.
2 points clear of Vancouver right now at the recording of this episode.
Now Vancouver does have one game in hand, but still.
Right. But still, you love to see it.
Hmm.
And now we're 18 games in. And again, no one's sitting here saying crown them. As Bradley said,
There's no
maybe,
trophy for halfway through the season or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, the bread's still in the bakery or something like
Yeah.
that. That was an interesting comment.
Yes.
But having said that, there's a lot of good stuff. Now, for this match, there was a lot of rotation, obviously, because you still had all the Gold Cup players out.
Hmm.
So, Bizo got the start. Frankie was on the bench.
We kind of thought that, yeah, it would make sense actually to put Bizo in there because of the matchup with like Zaha, but
The Zaha, and also just, Frankie just returning,
hmm
and those kind of things.
yeah,
And also, well, just Frankie kind of like some of the guys that are getting back, were just kind of getting some time to kind of get their legs fresh.
right.
Um, and and then you had on the bench was a very U2 heavy bench.
Hmm.
Um, things like that.
Yeah,
So,
Eddie Davis made his first regular game appearance. Now, he didn't play, but he was on the bench, and Neil Pierre he's been on the bench before, but that was the first time Eddie's been like in the 20 for
mhm,
like a regular MLS game. So good for Eddie. And of course, this was the first time this season that Marcus Anderson was on the bench there as well.
right.
So,
And so, I mean, you could see there was some rotation, and it definitely showed. Now, the formation was we thought 4-3-2-1. And I know Todd talked about at the beginning, we're like, wait a minute, is Indy kind of playing as a striker and Damiani's playing as like one of the tens? It seemed like they kind of were dropping back and
yeah.
forth.
Like on the broadcast, I saw like after the fact, I saw they had Indy kind of listed like up at the striker position when they just showed like the lineup. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
and then also to that point, the first half, it was just I felt like And credit to Charlotte and Dean Smith. Defensively, I thought they were good. Really kind of creating and pressuring Union. And Union just weren't stringing anything together. It was very disjointed.
It was kind of like players that don't normally start games together, kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, and like Bizo just I mean, we
There,
at this
yeah,
point it is what it is with Bizo,
it's
but
kind of clear that yeah, he's definitely behind Frankie and Nate over there. So there was, I will say this, up in 136 when Bizo uh dribbled the ball out of bounds
yeah,
outside there when it looked like they had a chance to go do something, and then Bizo dribbled, people just started chanting Andrew Wenger, and as someone who knew,
which
I was
again,
like,
if you watch that game, he actually didn't play that bad. It just
oh, I
was like
as
it.
someone who knew him, like that just yeah, that just always gets me a little bit.
Well,
But
I just think he had a rough night.
yeah, it just was not. I mean, we've seen real good from Bizo. This was not it.
No, this was not it. And even like to that point, Kai would looked a little. There was just miscommunication problems. Just guys making cuts that you're like, okay, they were it just. And then
Yeah,
Bradley even talked about it, and we probably played in a clip where they were kind of playing with the ball a little bit when they probably should have been making some chances. It just was very disconnected. I'd probably say
yeah.
for the first 25, 30 minutes.
I will say I thought Ben Bender did a pretty good job.
Oh,
I thought
absolutely.
he had a real good game. I thought that Mikanya and Glesnes did a really good job, you know?
Well,
So
and here's what I'm going to say. I thought as after like the 30-minute mark, the Union, whether it was tactically or they made a switch up or something, they started to figure out
yes.
Charlotte. I thought
Mhm.
they did a great job against Pep Beal the whole entire
They
night.
really did.
They were really limited. Now he had a couple plays and a couple opportunities,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they limited somebody that, everybody talks about Zaha, and we
Mhm.
can talk about him a little bit, but they really, really, really shut him down for the most part,
Yeah.
I thought. So credit to the defense. I thought Jovan defensively was good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, you do strike first.
Yes. Right
Um,
in that stoppage time. Yeah. Man, they've been getting those stoppage time.
and that's that, well, and that's a good
It's
thing.
good, yeah. So, I
I'm
mean, a golazo by Jesus Bueno, which is up for gold match. He's not going to win because I think
no,
Joe Klaus. I
Klaus
think
is gold,
Klaus's goal was,
pretty
oh,
amazing. But
yeah, objectively, yeah. And when Jesus scored that goal, I was like, that's got to be at least a contender for goal of the match day.
I just kind of was like, wow, that's great.
Yeah,
That's now 14 goal scorers
yeah.
on the season, and it was just a really nice play. Got the ball out
Hmm.
to um, Jesus, and rather than just trying to like one time, he settles it and
Hmm.
then confidently strikes it. And sometimes you see the guys they like will rush it and try it and then launch it or over or wide or right at the keeper. This was a
Hmm.
good strike, and you're happy to see Bueno take opportunities, make the chance of his opportunities. Now, unfortunately for him, second half he gets knocked around, he tries to make a go of it,
Yeah.
and he gets subbed out. But which is unfortunate because I thought he started really building into the game, especially with Jovan a little bit,
And here's the thing though too. Who came on from Kyle?
who did come on for him. I'm trying to remember the sub. Was was it
It
Marcus?
was Marcus.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Marcus did what he played almost
Yeah.
40 minutes. Uh, yeah, but the substitution at half, which
Yeah, there were two
again,
subs at half. Yep. Frankie came
and,
in for Bizo.
and Dono didn't.
And
No, was it Dono?
yeah, yeah, Dono came on for Bedoya.
Yeah, Bedoya. Which okay, I get that. I think for me personally, I thought in the second half, getting back to that, it brought Frankie in. You could see the change, and I thought for the most part against Zaha,
Mhm.
we were joking in press box because for whatever reason, Zaha likes to talk.
Yeah, can we talk from it?
Well,
Zaha, the biggest crybaby, like what a little I I'm not going to say the word because I
Well,
know.
it was funny because Todd talked about in his episode. So if you listen to Free Kick, he had a really nice brand.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna add anything on it. My thing was I kept saying to him and Skylar up there, I was just like, as soon as he came in, he tried to make a move on Frankie, and Frankie just started jawing with him. And the whole night for like the first, like until that goal,
Can't take the Philly out of the kid.
like like Zaha would say something, Frankie would be talking. Like Zaha
Dude,
would be walking back to the bridge, and I go, Frankie's still going.
Frankie like got in
He,
Zaha's head.
I
Like
don't know if he got in his
I
head,
don't
but
know,
he
but
got
I
him
would love
fired
to
up.
know what Frankie was saying to Zaha
I think it was
because
just that competitive
yeah, I love it. I love it.
because you see Zaha. I know Todd talked about. We've actually seen clips on MLS. People from Charlotte have posted where he goes after his own teammates on
Yeah, like
things.
what?
There was a couple times he just kept going after the official. After he gets a yellow
Hmm.
card, he just keeps going. Like everybody's like, "Yo, dude, chill." Like
Yeah.
players from the union, as Todd said, it was just kind of like a weird, like, are you gonna get? I was like watching that, going, "Are you gonna get a red card just because you're losing your cool?" But
Right?
again, now having said that, um, Charlotte, I thought the Union for the second half played a really good game.
Yeah.
But again, Charlotte defensively was buckling down, trying to get that goal, and they did.
Yeah.
Now, Marshall Rhodey makes a nice ball into the box. Zaha runs on. I thought
Was it a push on Frankie there?
it does, but from real time,
Real, I didn't notice
from
that from
my
real time.
vantage point, they both kind of got to the ball, and it
Hmm.
just looked like Zaha beat him out.
Hmm.
Like they both were there for that position. Frankie to try to clear it. So I'd knock it in, and it looked to me. But then when I did go back and watch it, there's definitely a push. Is that enough to alter the goal? That remains to be seen. But
Yeah.
I'm no official. It's close. Let's put it that way. But regardless, beats Rick. It's 1-1, and you're like, ah. I even go, oh well. Don't tell me we're gonna start dropping points again. Uh, But to the union's credit and to the fans' credit, and this is something I do want to get to in a little bit, we saw the fans, rather than stay quiet, kind of get behind the team, and the team kind of respond.
And they were giving Zaha a lot of crap too.
Yes,
Like,
you're,
loved it.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure that you guys were.
There was a chant that I can't repeat because it's not family friendly, but there was a chant in the River End, um, that was that had the F word in it and Zaha in it, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay, well, we can talk about that off air. But,
Yeah.
I
It was
mean,
pretty loud over there too, say they were saying.
I thought Frankie on the night did a really nice job. You can say what you want about that goal. I thought he did a good
And
job.
he did have a really big defensive play though too. Like when Rick spilled the ball and
Yeah,
Frankie was right there to clear it away.
and that's their connection from
Hmm.
years in the academy and union too. And then
Yeah.
Frankie got an assist on the game-winning goal. And
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Calvin comes in. I thought
Well,
Calvin was okay.
yeah. And okay, so let's back up a second.
All right.
Okay. So first of all, Marcus comes on for Jesus Bueno.
Mhm.
And it's funny because, like, Marcus, we've said, like, we've been singing his praise. He's been doing great with Union 2. He scored against Atlas, and he's been really just on fire lately. So I'm there with our usual people, 136, and I said to him, like, Marcus comes on, and I'm like, Marcus is gonna score tonight. I said that as soon as he came on. And it's funny because I know Mike Barrera said the same thing on his podcast too. And I'm like, but no, like seriously, when Marcus subbed on, I'm like, he's gonna score tonight. And when he did, my friends there are like, well, I wasn't expecting the game winner at the death, but I'll tell you what, just kind of had that feeling like he's got everything going well for him right there. But anyway, yeah, so and then, of course, people around were like, bring on the child. Bring on the child. They wanted to see Cap, and they're like, and someone's like, yes, bring on Grogu. Bring on the child.
Yeah.
As they're and then Kevin comes on. So, and I thought that was actually not a bad call. You bring on Kevin for Bruno, and you see that goal, Frankie heads it over, and so Frankie sends it in, and Kevin dummies it, either whether he dummied it or he whiffed it,
Now, Kevin did
kept
say
it. He
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 totally did not touch the ball.
no, he didn't. And but he's saying like, oh, he sensed that, there was a blue shirt behind him, whatever, and that he sensed Marcus there and that he was gonna be able to get it. But either way, it worked out perfectly. Marcus blasted in the like literally the last play of the game there. I mean, just what a fantastic ending. I mean, and for all his struggles that he had last season, okay, how emotional that was, how incredible that was for him, for his teammates. You could see how they embraced him. I mean, obviously it's the game-winning goal. That's exciting enough as it is, but you could kind of tell like it had even more meaning for everyone around there.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the big things, and I want to play this clip because so as soon as that goal's over, the game's over. Union, draw and tie will draw tie last year's squad
Like
point total. So
the whole season.
they've already matched the Union from last year, which gives you kind of an idea of wow, you know,
Mhm.
things maybe were that bad, and you already have
See,
those that many points in almost 16 games still to go. So it does put things in perspective. Now, one of my questions for Carnell was, hey, like when I saw all those kids on the bench, because for the most part,
mhm.
it's one of those games where it's like you gotta kind of think outside the box in terms of your questions. It was these young guys, the Rafas that weren't getting any opportunities last year. The Westfield, Frankie coming off the bench, even though he's a starter. Cavan, Marcus, you had Eddie and Neil on the bench. Uh, did I mention Raffanello?
Yeah, and
But
Isaiah
even
LaFleur was on the bench too.
yes, that's
Kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
Isaiah was on the bench. But even guy like Jesus Bueno, who
Yeah.
would go in and go in Jim's doghouse, it seemed like, and then come
Hmm.
back out and then pop his head in. And even Donovan, like at times, is and we can crap on
He's a
Don.
very polarizing figure.
I mean, yeah, he should have definitely had a goal, and Carnell talks
Yeah, he
about
should
that.
have.
But there was a couple things, and we can talk about that. But the biggest thing for me was just I asked him like, "Hey, these kids that are getting this young experience, where does that fit in with their development? When we get into playoffs,
Yeah.
to be able to go to that bench and even during the second half of the year, the summer months when kids are getting tired, players are getting tired to keep these fresh legs." And here's kind of what he had to say.
I think it's very very important, and Rafa did it in Montreal. We closed the game out in a real professional way. We controlled, we dominated. The field tilt was always in their end. So, yeah, through these moments of belief in training, pushing these players in training as well to make sure they're getting up to the right periodization in terms of fitness and just connectedness to the group, individual training sessions, individual meetings, video sessions. Like we don't just focus on 11 players, and I think that's the beauty of credit to the staff, and I've spoken about alignment since day one that we want to be aligned, and I think you're starting to see the byproduct. Winning is the result. The byproduct is everything else that we're doing around here.
And that's just it. That winning is
Hmm.
the byproduct of what they're doing around here. And he brought up a good point of, what you're seeing. It's not just the 11 players that
Right.
they are trained. Now, we can talk about subs, and I think for the majority of it, he's gotten the subs right at times.
He's not afraid to sub guys. He's not
He's not
afraid
afraid
to
to take
put
risks.
to take risks, seeing what some of these younger guys have or, guys that haven't gotten a chance as much.
And that's how you keep players fresh.
For
And
sure.
that's how you give those players, when you have a Wednesday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Sunday game, a little bit more opportunity. And that builds their confidence and that builds their trust. And if they have a mistake, you learn from it and move on.
Right.
Because he even said that with Rick back in New York. I want him to make those mistakes because that's how you learn.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's such a good continuity between, what Ryan Richter's doing, what Bradley Cornell's doing, and what the staff as a whole. It's like they're all kind of bought in. It's kind of like how on our swim team we have like the different groups and everything, and we have common language and we're all on the same page. And so it makes it kind of seamless.
I mean, it really is. I mean, as a result, you have 15 goals, individual goal scorers, which leads MLS.
And an interesting note, because I don't think we mentioned it yet, Marcus's goal, when I scored
Yes, thank you.
97:58, like literally at the death there, but 97 minutes 58 seconds. It was the latest game-winning goal in club history.
So beat out the Glesnes goal, which is still an iconic goal. But that for sure for Marcus is going to be a iconic special moment for him.
Yeah.
And you hope to see he continues to build off this.
Yeah. I think, does this give him, is he going to keep getting opportunities? You kind of got to go with the hot hand here, I think. But, are we going to see Marcus get, be on the bench in the next game? Is he ahead of Chris Donovan, for instance, on the striker depth? It'll be interesting to see
It
where this
will.
fits in. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Eddie Davis get a shot in a match. He's playing really well too. So, there is some depth there. There's some striker depth, and with Marcus, yeah, you can play him in different positions. So, it's interesting, but good for Marcus. But yeah, so yeah, the Union extend their unbeaten streak to 10 matches in MLS, the longest in club history. Who thought that was going to happen though, back at the beginning of the season? Be honest, who thought that?
Right, but I want to play a second clip here, and at the end of the match, the Union came on. The Union went around the stadium with Carnell leading.
Loved that.
Yeah. Now, we always talked about how Jim was very forward with, keeping the players involved, making sure whether it was a team events or that being involved with the fans.
Yes.
But it was almost, and Todd brought this up, and I agreed with, and we were talking about that, like it felt like a playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
When that goal happened.
And sidebar on that, at the beginning of the match, I think I texted you, I'm like, the River Run's being pathetic right now.
Well, it
like
was.
at the beginning of the
was
the first half, like before Choo Choo scored and all that, like earlier on, people are just standing around. I'm like, man, like this is kind of sad. And there was like a lot of families with young kids in the section, which that's fine and all, except they're not participating. So it's like, yeah, but it turned around.
They did do a nice job as the match building the supporters in the crowd, but at the end, just going around there saying that, and credit to Todd, he asked a phenomenal question about that. And I just want to play Carnell's response, which some people are taking, I think, the wrong way. And I'll talk about this real quick.
I know Todd talked about this on his pod.
Yeah.
It's pretty emotional for my staff, for me personally, I think the first 3 games, when we were here at Subaru Park, 82 minutes in and the fans are leaving despite us winning results. And I was told it's the Philly culture, right? It's just the way it is. To see all the fans staying tonight, it was massive. To see them rallying late on in the game, it gives me goosebumps, right? So this is amazing. And if we can try and collectively make this place a real tough place for people to come and teams to play, it makes me like, that we're all in this together. Yeah. It's pretty emotional for my...
And I think the atmosphere was phenomenal towards the end of the match there. And if you can have it like that for more of the match, I mean, wow. But
what I want a couple of things I want to dissect from that. First, he talked there at the end about if they all come together, they can make this place tough to play about. And Jim always knew that too.
Oh, for sure. It was a fortress for the longest time.
For the longest time. And maybe this is something that starts to get back. Yeah. We'll see. But that was very true, especially that last probably 20 minutes. It was loud. And then also just about the atmosphere to keep the players, and that was a thank you to the fans. You love to see that.
I love that he had the players going around to the fans there, and
because that was a big thing at times, especially in 2022, even before that, and even in 2023, and sometimes in 2024. That and I think that's that next step. As for the Philly comment, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. So now, to be clear, and I know Todd pointed this out on his podcast as well, he was told that's Philly culture. Now, whoever told him that's Philly culture, what? But anyway, now to be fair, when you look at the full context, the beginning of the season, it was cold. And I think, and if the Union had some people wanted to leave and beat the traffic, because we all know the traffic situation there. If you try to leave right away, it's not great.
And plus, they were blowing teams out. So it's
Yeah, so like I get that, but I, for one, I am not someone who ever leaves early. You, Kyle, you talked about how was it Kevin Millwood's no hitter?
actually, we stuck around. We were in the concourse for it,
You
but
say you left a no hitter early. Now you're not a Phillies fan,
well, I didn't
but
leave a no hitter early. I was in the concourse, but we were trying to get out of there because
yeah,
it
uh-huh.
saw.
I am one of those people. I will not leave early from, a sporting event because you never know what can happen. Sucks for the people that left early for, if they left early
Yeah,
from this one. But no, you never know what can happen. I, for one, don't leave early from anything. But um, more reason to, just go hang out at Union Yards or just, whatever. And don't even get me started on they need to keep Union Yards open just a little bit longer because they're
that's
kicking
weird.
people out like way early. I looked at my phone, it was 10:18 when they're like, last call, we got to close it up here. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know if something changed with the city ordinance.
if someone knows more about this, Phil,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
it
Some
feels like they're closing so early because it's not like there's a lot of people still around there, like, and they'd be making more money and whatnot. But anyway, I digress.
because I always remember last year the taco stand was open later. Like
Yeah.
people were playing games. You had DJ. It was open till 11 because I remember even on the latest night we'd get out
Hmm.
there and we were still able to like hang out for a little bit. And usually we'd be hanging out for like 20, 25 minutes talking to people.
Yeah.
And then finally they'd come around and say, okay, we're closing down. I don't remember even this year coming out of the press box. And like you said, it was dead already. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So anyway, like people wanting to be the traffic. I mean, yeah, they do need to do something better with the traffic, but yeah, I know not everyone just wants to hang around, but that's a nice alternative. But yeah, stay and, cheer on the guys to the end. But
I don't think it.
I don't think it's like a huge, like I said, I know I commented that that's more LA culture. They arrive late
Yeah,
and they leave early from like the Dodgers games and stuff.
but
And
I don't
so,
think that's it. I don't think he meant insulting.
no,
It
he
was
didn't.
preference point.
No,
It
he was
was,
just saying like he was told that, because remember, he's
but
not from
even if he
Philly.
kind of said that, like that was his perception,
Yeah.
like I don't think that was a shot at Philly.
No, no, not at all. But, I think he was really pleased at how the fans were and he wanted to show the appreciation, have the team show that and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then my last thing on the list is just he talked about creating competition.
Yes.
And you're seeing these players, he can use whoever. Like he said a couple, maybe like a month ago, early May, like, it's like somebody asked about the bench subs, and he's like, it's tools in the toolbox,
Hmm.
it's like, who do I want to use tonight? And again, it goes back to that, but also the contribution, the goal scorers, the assists, people with the assists. Sure, Ty leads the league right now with goals, and he's the leading goal scorer by almost 11
Yeah,
goals
let's think
over.
about the fact that we have the Golden Boot leader on the team, but there's been goal contributions from so many different players as
Well,
well.
the Golden Boot, I mean, Mikel and Ty were out this game, and the Union still put up two
Hmm.
goals.
Hmm.
They put up two goals from two different
From
players.
unexpected
You
sources.
know, so I think there is that vibe of anybody, any night, and it's total team.
I'm waiting for the Macanya goal.
It goes back to almost that
Hmm.
2022 where, yeah, you had the three-headed monster,
Yeah.
but there were other people like Corey Burke,
Hmm.
Ali Bedoya, and others that on any given night could put the ball in the back of the net when those three were getting shut down. Now, that didn't happen much, but even in 2023, you saw some similar instances of other players stepping up. And
Hmm.
that's a byproduct of the culture, in my opinion. And it's just really good. So here's Bradley kind of talking about just the competition and how that creates winning. If it will load. It's always the last one. So Yeah, I mean, he just kind of
and
talks.
create internal
Right.
competition, and we want to play like the way we train, with intensity and power. And credit to Dean and his boys, they're a gritty team as well, and they're tough to break down, and they're very organized. And so yeah, we had to be a little bit creative tonight, and try and change things up in the second half with a little bit of a different approach. And I think it worked both ways. I think we gave up a few transition moments that we didn't want to, but also we created a few more. And if we had taken a lot of our chances, I think this discussion wouldn't be as tight as it was in the injury time winner. So I just think there's momentum, there's belief, there's energy, there's cohesion, there's commitment to each other as teammates. Create.
And that's what you see. And
Yeah.
that's what you see at the end of the day. That is what you see from this team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I wanted to play that clip, because it's true.
Yeah.
Um,
Speaking of Dean Smith, did you see what his post-game comments were?
about Makanya.
Like, it was definitely,
Somebody asked him about Bender. Now, I haven't seen that clip,
I haven't seen that either.
but he kind of just no commented on that. I mean,
The fact that, okay, Kyle, you're a professional wrestling fan. You told me how like they like cut themselves on purpose to make themselves bloody. Tiger Smalls, I'm onto your game. No, I'm just kidding.
no,
No, I know, I'm not saying he did that at all. But no, it's just like, yeah, that whole thing was just like, yeah. When you look back at the clip too, it's like, no, that's not.
they were both going for the ball. I
Yeah.
mean, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um, it it wasn't a violent action. I don't think it
No,
was at
no.
any point. Now, maybe you get a card out of that. I could see a like
Well,
golf.
if it would have been a card, that would have been a second yellow for Macania.
Yeah, I know it could have been, but
But no, it was
even that would be a little harsh because it looked like they were both going for the ball, and he didn't really look like he
yeah.
pushed him off. So yeah, I think maybe it was the right call. But at the end of the day, I don't think there was any harm intended on that. But at the end of the day, look, vibes are good. Union continue to win. And I'm excited for these next three games because I think Chicago is a very dangerous team. They can put up a lot of goals, and even though they're kind of outside of the playoffs, they're kind of like the Union. They can show up on like with the Union were last year. That I would say they're better than the Union were last year
We
because
need
they
to
can.
erase the memory of last year's game at Chicago.
Yeah, that was. Hopefully they can. And then you get a nice showdown in Columbus.
Yeah, it's a Sunday night
And then
game.
you probably go against the hottest team in the league, Nashville.
We need payback for Nashville because that game was horrendous.
Hey, the Union have done well in Nashville. So
Let's hope that continues.
yeah, I
Need
mean, there,
payback for that
I mean, there,
horrible game.
there's some good teams coming up, and we'll see. But at the same time, the Union have given themselves a lot of leeway. They have a game up right now with pretty much everybody in the Eastern Conference except Miami. And so, I mean, time will tell what this team can do, but it's going to be exciting and interesting next 16 games. But
Yeah, it's clear that there's a lot of belief in this team. The vibes are good. They all are really bought into it. I mean, the locker room seems fantastic. So, I mean, they've got something special right now. Hopefully that continues. It's a long season,
yeah,
but you can't help but feel really good about the vibes right now. Okay, really good vibes. And like I said, top to bottom, first team, second team, and even the academy right now, like they're doing really, really well and enjoy it, you
I
know?
mean, like I said, I hate to keep bringing back my predictions. I mean, I said they had 4 points. Well, now they got seven. You get, I like if they could keep this up. I mean, it's going to be interesting. But again, um, before we get out of here, Union are off this week.
Yeah, they have a mandated 5-day break from MLS Players Association. So,
But you're going to go down, talk to Ryan this week,
yeah, Union 2 still are going.
and some other little coverage. I'm going to be at the Club World Cup on Friday over the weekend. Yeah, Union 2 play in Columbus on Saturday.
Yep, Saturday at 3 p.m.
So stay tuned. We got some more stuff coming your way, and probably have another guest on here either this week or next week, depending on how everything comes on, and maybe another player interview. We're working on something there as well. So lots going on still as always. But again, thank you for your support as always, and thank you for listening to us. We really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we really do. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe and spread the word as well. Follow us on our socials and, leave us comments because we really love hearing from you. Keep saying hi to us at, out and about at the games and such. And don't forget, you can subscribe to our website. It is free. Our content is free. And, there's a place to subscribe your email in there so you can get the articles right to your inbox if you like.
Yep. And until next time, I'm Kyle,
I'm Jillian.
and we'll see you at the game.